Yo, what is up? What's going on with all you trout hunters out there? It's your boy, Dangerous Dave. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be going over how to minimize your line twist, okay? So how to spool up your reel with minimizing line twists. How many of you guys have gotten a brand new spool of line? You spend $10, $15, $20 on your line, right? You spool up your reel, you get out to the lake, you get out to the pond, and you're like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get out there and cast. And as soon as you cast, you just get this major line twist, man. And you know, sometimes it pretty much takes all the line off your spool, and you're left with barely any casting distance. So, like I said, we're gonna be going over how to minimize that, not avoid it. It's still gonna happen, maybe like once or twice or here and there. You know what I'm saying? But it's gonna bring it down a lot, guys. Now, this is a little trick I'd learned from a lot of old school fishermen right here. So the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna grab your spool of line. Right here, we're using P-Line Fluoroclear. It's gonna be a fluorocarbon coated copolymer line, 3-pound test. Now, this is actually the first time I'll be using this line right here. As you guys know, I'm a big time 2-pound test fluorocarbon fisherman. I just prefer fluorocarbon. It's a preference thing for me. But first thing I want you guys to do is get your end of your line right there, see? And then you're just gonna tie an old school square knot. Just an overhand square knot, right? So where you got this little knot right there in your line. And then what I like to do is just pinch it right on the knot and clip it as close as possible. Because like if you have a little tag end past your knot like that, it's gonna mess with your line when it's coming off of your spool, right? So you wanna try to clip that as close as possible. Right? Now, you're gonna grab your rod. Personally, if you have a 2-piece rod, guys, you don't need to put together. I just use the bottom half. Put it right here through your first eye. Now, this is where you guys got to pay attention, okay? You got your little knot in your end of your line. Now what you're going to do is you're going to make a loop, right? Like so. Then you're going to take your tag end and you're going to wrap it around. Now, I don't know if you guys can see that too well, but you see how it makes like that little cross? Now what you're going to do is you're going to take that tag end and put it through that little loop that it makes. All right, now pull the bigger loop to where it's nice and tight. I don't know if you guys can see too well, man. I'm sorry about that. To where it looks like so. Right? Now, this is basically kind of somewhat like a slip knot. And you're just going to put that loop right over your spool. And then pull your main line. I like to go left and right, nice and gentle, to where it gets down to that little knot. See, it's pulling it. And now that knot is going to work somewhat like a little stopper. See? It's all out of focus, but that little knot that you created at the end of your line uses it as like a stopper, right? Now what you're going to do is go ahead and flip your bail over, right? Personally, I like to pinch it about a foot away from the top of your reel. Now, it's very important, guys, that the cover of your line is facing upwards, like this, okay? Like that. So now what you're gonna do is you're just gonna reel in nice and slow. Don't try to jam through it. Don't try to go super fast. The reason why you're leaving the label up is because of something to do with the way that they spool it. They spool it the other way, so what you're doing is you're bringing it off this way, and it just comes off a whole lot smoother and easier. So you're just going to go ahead and nice and smoothly reel it in. You don't want to rush through it and try to reel too fast. You don't want to reel, you know, faster than you normally would while fishing. And if your spool of line starts jumping around or whatnot, just simply pick it up and make sure it's faced up. Another mistake I see a lot of fishermen do is over spool their line. You don't want to over spool your line, because that's just going to make your line jump off your reel. You know what I'm saying? But right there, just gonna reel it in nice and slow, nothing too fast. While you're doing this though, you're pinching your line to keep tension on it. You know what I'm saying? So you got tension in your line. There's also a lot of guys I know that leave their drag a little loose. So when they're reeling in, I don't know, I don't like to do that though. I just like to go, reel it in nice and smooth. You don't want to put too much tension on it. You're just basically guiding the line onto it now. You know what I'm saying? One thing that sucks about using this really like small 2-pound, 3-pound test line is you'll be spooling up your reel forever. The reason why you want to go nice and smooth is so you get a nice even flow of the line going up and down on the reel. You don't, if you reel too fast or if you're putting too much tension on your line or not enough tension, you're going to have a whole bunch of line up here on the top or a whole bunch of line down there on the bottom. That can also be a gear. I learned from a buddy of mine, Scott. Your gear in there could be flipped over or whatnot, but usually you don't really got to worry about that. Especially if you got like a new reel and you never took it apart. Now remember guys, do not over spool your line. There's a lot of guys I know, man, they put as much line as they can fit on there and they go to cast and the line's just mumble jumbling off of the dang reel. And they're sitting there like, oh man, what happened? I just spent $20 on this line and it's jumping off my reel. Well, you spooled it wrong, bubs. All right, so there we go. You guys can see right here on this little lip of the reel. It's nice and full. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that line and you're gonna find the little keeper on your reel. When I mean keeper, I mean that little black piece right there, all right? You're just gonna tuck it right underneath there. Cut the excess off. Now, here's where the trick comes in. I want you to go ahead and take that spool off of the reel. All right, go ahead and just set your little piece down right there. You're gonna take this whole bad boy off. All right. Looks good, right? You know, go out there, fish. But you're gonna get line twists. So check this out, right? You're gonna go ahead and get you a bowl of some nice hot sink water right now. There's no need to boil it. There's no need to heat it up in the microwave. None of that good stuff, okay? You're just simply gonna take this, set it right there inside your bowl of warm hot water, and you're just gonna let that bad boy sit for about 20-30 minutes. As soon as you feel that water starting to cool down, it's always best to grab your spool out, let it sit for a little bit, and shoot it again with the hot water trick. I like to do it 2 to 3 times. I do this the night before I go fishing. And that's pretty much it, guys. So you're just gonna, first things first is get your spool, your spool of line. You're gonna put it through your eye. You're gonna tie that old school square knot, bite it off, right? And then you're gonna make that little loop knot that I showed you guys. Put it on your reel, line it up, and then you're just gonna drop it in some nice warm water. Simple trick, right? But trust and believe, this simple trick is gonna save you a whole lot of money on line, man. When I first got into trout fishing, I was spending $15.99 online, get out to the pond, try to throw a 132-ounce jig and just line twist. Man, dude, you guys know how frustrating that stuff gets, man. You just spent like 15-20 bucks on some line, go out there and you're just wasting it. You know what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't happen all the time. Honestly, it does depend on the line you're using too. I've noticed P-line is actually really good. I've used the 2-pound test, the 2-pound test Fluoro Clear. It's a really small diameter of line, so it's in my book, it's one of the weakest 2-pound test lines there is. But it all depends on your preference and especially on how you fight the fish. You know what I'm saying? It's not the line, it's the fisherman. I mean, you guys seen my previous videos. I've caught 5, 7, 8-pound trout on 2-pound test line. Now, that's all depending on how you fight the fish. That's not your line's problem. It's not your rod's problem. It's not your reel. You just got to make sure your drag's nice and loose, man, and play with that fish. Let that fish fight. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then drop your spool in some nice warm water. Now, see, that warm water is going to, you'll notice it when you drop that spool in the hot water, you're going to see bubbles coming out of your line. So pay attention. You'll watch. Trust me. You'll see a bubble come out of your line. And that's kind of like what causes, in my book, that's what causes line twists. You know what I mean? Is it's memory in the line. Imagine how long this line's been sitting on this spool before you buy it. You know what I mean? It's memorized to be in that big of a circle. So this warm water is kind of just helping, I would say, shrink the line to your reel. Brings the memory to your reel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just drop it in the hot water. Fill your hot water. Make sure your water's still nice and hot. You know what I'm saying? Right there. I know it's a little off camera, guys. But I'm not bull spitting you. It's still right there in the water. We're gonna let this guy sit for about 30 minutes until the water starts to lose its temperature. One thing I want you guys to make sure you do is when you leave it in this hot water, do not let your hot water get cold. I don't know why. I've done it once or twice. I forgot a spool inside there and was like, oh, you know what I mean? I got to take off and go fishing right now. And line twists. I don't know. I guess something with the cold water just shocked it or something. Like I said, though, guys, this is just how I prefer to spool up my rod and reel. This is a little trick I've learned from a couple of old school fishermen. And if you guys are at the lake and you need to spool up your rod, the best thing to do is drop this spool in the water in front of you. That's right. That's gonna help, but not as good as hot water. Yeah, once it's done, I mean, you could do it for like 15-20 minutes. You could do it for 30 minutes. You don't got to do the whole process of 2 times, but that's just me and my personal preference. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, once it's done, you just shake off your reel, plop it right back on there. And there you go. That is how you minimize your line twist, guys. Hopefully this video helps you guys. If you guys need me to redo it, you guys didn't really get to see the knots and everything. I know it's a little dark outside and the camera really wasn't focusing, and it's such a small diameter line that I'm using. If you guys would like me to redo this video with some high visible line or even like, you know, some braid or something like that, you missed a step or something, don't be afraid to go ahead and hit me up in the comments and ask me. Tell me, yo, Dave, hook me up with a video with some high vis or something like that. I got you, man. I'm here to help you guys get on fish. You know what I'm saying? Because it took me a long time to learn all these tips and techniques, guys. I'm talking about, I've met so many different fishermen, and I've just, you know, I absorb everything, dude. I'm like a sponge when I'm out there talking, especially to the older guys, man. You know, they know what they're talking about. But yeah, that's pretty much how I do it right there. Well, not pretty much, that is exactly how I spool up all of my rods, even my bass fishing rods. I do this with all of my spinning gear. Bait casters, you really don't got to worry about. You don't really get line twists like that, you know what I'm saying? But there we have it. There you go. That is how you're going to spool up your reel to minimize your line twist, guys. So quit wasting all your money buying spool after spool after spool of line, and please try this little tip and technique. If it didn't work for you guys, let me know. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? You're still going to get line twists. But all right, y'all, that's it for this video. Till the next hunt, make sure you guys are staying tuned, because I got a super sick surprise for the next video, y'all. But I'm out, man. Much love, much respect. And also, don't forget, go grab your 2.5-inch Stenkos right now, man. They are selling out fast. I cannot keep them in I barely got a couple packs for myself, man. They're going so fast. But yeah, that's it. I just want to give a shout out to Cardozo Lures, Cali Boy Custom Glass Lures, and Creeker Custom Rods, y'all. These are my top 3 companies. I trust and believe in all their products, guys. I wouldn't send you guys their way if I didn't, you know what I'm saying? If I wouldn't fish it, I wouldn't approve it to you guys. But that's it, y'all. I'm out.